Environmental pollution
Air
contributed to the
pollution
deaths of
is
India's capital city has declared a health emergency because
Nowadays, our world is in critical with the pollution crisis. Pollution is a serious issue that has been affecting our Earth. Although the introduction of harmful waste material or the form of contamination which are hazard to the life-sustaining atmosphere of the planet Earth is commonly known as pollution. Pollution affects the ecosystem of the planet, cause discomfort to almost every living organism on the face of planet. It is a result of ever-increasing pollution into the environment that the ozone layer over the Earth defends us from the damaging ultraviolet rays of the sun is being depleted. Recent rise of the temperature of many countries across the world is also the result of the same. What is air pollution? Air pollution refers to any physical, chemical, or biological change in the air. It is the contamination of air by harmful gases, dust, and smoke which affect plants, animals, and humans. There is a certain percentage of gases present in the atmosphere. An increase or decrease in the composition of these gases is harmful to survival. There are two types of air pollutants. First is the primary pollutants. The pollutants that directly cause air pollution are known as primary pollutants. Sulfur dioxide emitted from the factories is a primary pollutant. Second is secondary pollutants. The pollutants formed by the intermingling and reaction of primary pollutants are known as secondary pollutants. Smoke formed by the intermingling of smoke and fog is secondary pollutant. There are several sources of contamination that cause air pollution. First is automobile. The gases emitted from the vehicles such as jeep, trucks, car, buses, and so on pollute the environment. These are the major source of the greenhouse gases and also result in the disease among individuals. Second is agricultural activities. Ammonia is one of the most hazardous gas emitted during agricultural activities. The insecticide, pesticide, and fertilizer emit harmful chemicals in the atmosphere and contaminate it. Third is factory and industry. Factory and industry are the main source of carbon monoxide, organic compounds, hydrocarbon, and chemicals. These are released into the air and degrading its quality. And the last one is mining activities. In the mining process, the minerals below the earth are extracted using large pieces of equipment. The dust and chemicals released during the process not only pollute the air but also deteriorate the health of workers and people living in the nearby areas. These all types of source bring many bad effects on the environment, includes disease, global warming, acid rain, ozone layer depletion, and also effect on animals. So as a microbiologist, I will show you how we can control the air pollution. First, avoid using vehicles. People should avoid using vehicles for a shorter distance. Rather, they should prefer public modes of transport to travel from one place to another. This not only prevent pollution but also conserve energy. Second, energy conservation. A large number of fossil fuels are burned to generate electricity. Therefore, do not forget to switch off the electricity appliance when not in use. The last one is use of clean energy resources. The use of solar, winds, and geothermal energy reduce air pollution at a large level. Various countries, including India, has implemented the use of these resources as a step towards a cleaner environment. Besides, we also can apply a bioremediation technique in order to control the pollution. For example, like biofiltration. Biofiltration is a method that involves passing pollution air over the replaceable culture medium containing microorganisms that degrade contamination into products such as carbon dioxide, water, and salt. Biofiltration is only biological technique currently available to remediate airborne pollution.
Next is water pollution. What is water pollution?
Water pollution is the situation when the toxic substances enter the water bodies such as rivers, oceans, lakes or any other stretch of water, getting dissolved in them, lying suspended in the water or depositing on the bed, which can degrade the quality of water and cause contamination of water. In general, there are two types of water pollution, which are organic pollution and chemical pollution. Organic pollution occur due to the microorganisms like bacteria and viruses that present in water generated by feces, animal and vegetable waste, whereas the chemical pollution is a water pollution generated by the chemical substances like nitrates and phosphates of pesticides, human and animal drugs, household products, heavy metals, acids and hydrocarbons used in industries. Besides, what are the sources of water pollution? Water pollution can be caused in a number of ways and it primarily caused by the human activities. For instance, the sources of water pollution are urbanization and deforestation, the use of pesticides and fertilizers in agriculture, sewage and waterways, marine dumping, industry waste, oil spills, and radioactive waste. The natural phenomena such as landslides and floods can also contribute to the degradation of water quality and lead to the water contamination. However, bioremediation technique can be implemented as a great way to treat this pollution. There are two types of bioremediation, which are in situ and ex situ bioremediation. In contaminated water, ex situ bioremediation is rare and it usually performed for pumping groundwater to the surface and biologically treating it in an enclosed reservoir. But the in situ bioremediation is commonly used to treat the contaminated water. One of the bioremediation that can be used is to clean the oil spills in water. In this situation, the marine microbe is used to degrade the oil in water by breaking down the hydrocarbon in oil to smaller subunits, and some of them can degrade the oil into carbon dioxide. Besides, the microbe like Alkanivirac berkamensis also play a role in producing a surfactants that can solubilize the oil in water. Other than that, the bioremediation also is used in cleaning the water sewage. In this process, the microbes are cultured in a bulk and applied to the flowing sewage. The microbes are then activated and multiplied. They will eat the contaminants such as oil and organic matter and letting off carbon dioxide and water. To enhance the activation of microbe, the enzyme is commonly used in this process. Nowadays, the global water crisis is getting more serious and critical. The preservation and conservation of water is a very significant way to implement in order to continuously manage the natural resource of fresh water, to protect the hydrosphere, and to meet the current and future human demand. Thus, there are some strategies can be practiced to conserve the clean water. For example, rainwater harvesting by digging ponds, lakes or canals to make a rainwater reservoir or use rainwater tank. Protecting groundwater resources and making a communication and education of sciences to land managers, policymakers, farmers and the general public on how to manage the water system properly, also strategies in order to conserve the water. However, there are also some simple ways that can be practiced to conserve the water, such as making sure to turn off the running tap when not in use, check for any leakage occasionally, making sure to always pick up trashes when at the beach, lake or river, and many more.
Now we will be talking about soil pollution. Soil pollution refers to anything that causes contamination of soil and degrades the soil quality. It occurs when the pollutants causing the pollution reduce the quality of the soil and convert the soil inhabitable for microorganisms and macroorganisms living in the soil. Soil contamination or soil pollution can occur either because of human activities or because of natural processes. However, mostly it is due to human activities. The most significant types of soil pollution are usually from human sources. and there are several factors contributing to soil pollution. One of the most significant causes of soil pollution are pesticides. They are generally insoluble in water and non-biodegradable. Therefore, these chemicals will not gradually decompose and keep on accumulating in the soil. The concentration of these chemicals will then increase when the transfer of these chemicals take place from lower to higher trophic level via the food chain. Hence, it will cause many metabolic and physiological disorders in humans. Another cause is industrial pollution. Incorrect methods of chemical waste disposal from different types of industries can cause contamination of soil. Human activities like this have led to acidification of soil and contamination due to disposal of industrial waste such as heavy metals, toxic chemicals, dumping oil and fuel. Another major contributing factor is intensive farming. Intensive farming is a process whereby farmers do not allow the soil to properly recover after a crop harvest. Therefore, it depletes the nutrients in the soil if repeatedly done. Finally, we have the disposal of solid wastes. Disposal of solid items such as plastics, cans, and other solid waste falls into the category of soil pollution. Disposal of electrical goods such as batteries cause an adverse effect on the soil due to the presence of harmful chemicals, such as lithium present in batteries can cause leaching of soil. Therefore, it is important that solid wastes be disposed of properly so as to not contaminate the soil. However, as dire as all these factors seem to be, not all hope is lost. There are several methods for us to preserve and restore the effects brought about by these issues. Bioremediation, involving microbial digestion of certain organic chemicals, is the foremost solution. Techniques used in bioremediation include land farming, biostimulation, and bioaugmentation of soil biota with commercially available microflora. Even now, there have been discoveries of microorganisms capable of breaking down plastics that can potentially aid us in cleaning up the world's soil. Other methods include phytoremediation, or the usage of plants such as willows to extract heavy metals from the soil. There is also mycoremediation, or the usage of fungi to metabolize contaminants and accumulated heavy metals within the soil. Alternatively, the excavation of contaminated soil and taking it away to a disposal site away from ready pathways for human or sensitive ecosystem contact is also an option. This prevents any of the aforementioned harmful chemicals from affecting any organisms linked to the soil, humans included. Finally, to conclude, we as microbiologists, it is imperative for us to play our parts in stopping the pollution of the world's soils by spreading awareness as well as recycling our waste so as to not contribute to the problem. We may also take a more proactive approach by participating in conservation and restoration activities of the land, as it is of utmost importance to our survival as a species.
Now moving on to thermal pollution. So what is thermal pollution? Thermal pollution is defined as the sudden increase or decrease in temperature of a natural body of water, which may be an ocean, a lake, river or pond by human influence. This normally occurs when a plant or facility takes in water from a natural resource and puts it back with an altered temperature. So what are the causes of thermal pollution? Water is used as a cooling agent in power, manufacturing and industrial plants. Production and manufacturing plants are the biggest sources of thermal pollution. These plants draw water from a nearby source to keep machines cool and then release back to the source with higher temperatures. When heated water returns to the river or ocean, the water temperature rises sharply. So when oxygen levels are altered in the water, this can also degrade the quality and longevity of life in wildlife that lives underwater. The next cause is soil erosion. Soil erosion is another major factor that causes thermal pollution. Consistent soil erosion causes water bodies to rise, making them more exposed to sunlight. The high temperature could prove fatal for aquatic biomes as it may give rise to anaerobic conditions. Other than that, deforestation also causes thermal pollution. Trees and plants prevent sunlight from falling directly onto lakes, ponds, or rivers. When deforestation takes place, these water bodies are directly exposed to sunlight, thus absorbing more heat and raising its temperature. Deforestation is also the main cause of the higher concentrations of greenhouse gases. The next cause is runoff from paved surfaces. Urban runoff discharge to surface waters from paved surfaces such as roads and parking lots can make the water warmer. During summer seasons, the pavement gets quite hot, which creates warm runoffs that get into the sewer systems and water bodies. So, what are the harmful effects of thermal pollution? Thermal pollution can decrease dissolved oxygen levels in the body of water. The warm temperature reduces the DO level in the water. The warm water holds relatively less oxygen than cold water. The decrease in DO can create suffocation for plants and animals such as fish, amphibians, and copepods, which may give rise to anaerobic conditions. Warmer water allows algae to flourish on the surface of the water, and over the long term, growing algae can decrease oxygen levels in water in an event called eutrophication. Another effect of thermal pollution would be the loss of biodiversity. A dent in the biological activity in the water may cause a significant loss of biodiversity. Changes in the environment may cause certain species of organisms to shift their base to some other place, while there could be a significant number of species that may shift in because of warmer waters. Organisms that can adapt easily may have an advantage over organisms that are not used to the warmer temperatures. Now, how do we solve thermal pollution? The first solution would be to have cooling ponds. Cooling ponds or reservoirs are the simplest methods of controlling thermal discharges. In cooling ponds, heated effluents on the surface of water maximize the dissipation of heat to the atmosphere and minimize the area and volume of water. This is the simplest and cheapest method that cools the water to a considerably low temperature. However, the method alone is less desirable as well as inefficient in terms of air-water contact. The next solution would be using cooling towers. After using water from water sources for cooling purposes, it is subsequently returned to the water body after passing through the condenser, which is termed as the cooling process. Therefore, cooling towers are designed to control the temperature of water to make the cooling process more effective. Cooling towers are mainly used to dissipate the recovered waste heat to eliminate the problems of thermal pollution. Other than that, we can also use artificial lakes. Artificial lakes are man-made bodies of water that offer a possible alternative. The heated effluents may be discharged into the lake at one end, and the water may be withdrawn from the other end for cooling purposes. The heat is eventually dissipated through evaporation. However, these lakes have to be rejuvenated continuously. Now, thermal pollution is a very serious issue and should not be taken for granted. We should all be aware of what thermal pollution is and what it does to the environment.